Hey guys, today we have a video on Ultron about his stunlocking capabilities, something that's often gone overlooked. So first off, we have my map 8 fights. So this is on Delirium in section 2, um, with Mighty Charge as well. And there's this node where if you intercept, you get a Fury, and it removes the Unstoppable from Mighty Charge. For some reason, this Fury is broken, and it only goes for the first fight. So as you can see what a normal fight would look like. And then on the second fight, what I'm gonna have to do with the Fury not working because the intercept just doesn't give the Fury for whatever reason. I go for a stun locking strategy that just works extremely well, as you'll see here, and it fixes the main issue in map 8 of the horrible AI, really. Obviously, I can't do this for my third fight of Night Thrasher, so since he's shrugs debuffs when he's knocked down. But yeah, for these first two, Wolvie and Havoc, they'll always go down easy enough. Sometimes in later rounds of map 8, of course, I will have to actually go for the full cycle. And on Havoc, since he has some damage resistant qualities, I do have to go for the full cycle every day. And yeah, it's really, really easy. And now for some fights in Act 6, we have a 6.3.4 Hyperion. This trend going on is actually what inspired me to make this video, because I went in here and I just saw just how crazy the stun locking really was. Um, so yeah, um, it's a pretty normal stun lock fight. The main strategy for longer fights with the stun lock is you want to get that heavy off first, and then you'll go into your stun lock so you get all the extra damage from those extra debuffs. And then you're just going to absolutely melt, as you can see here. Um, yeah, just an absolute beast, and it gives them a nice form of pseudo power control, where you don't really have power control, but you end the fight in a way that makes it so you're not really worried about L3. And this is on a different run since when I first did the hype fight, I only recorded the hype fight, so I had to go re-record this thing. Um, and yeah, this is with a different team, of course. And yeah. So for this Proxima fight, there's just an Energize and Supercharge. So still a lot of power, and her L3 is actually very worrying because it does stun you. And you're probably not going to survive an L3 with just about anyone against Proxima because of that stun. Obviously, cheat deaths and whatnot will probably survive it, but a pretty threatening L3 and Ultron wouldn't survive it. And then we've just got a Quake. Ultron does work perfectly fine for the Havoc too, but you can't stun lock that. Well, I think you probably can, but um, you would have to use a specific synergy team with War Machine pre-fights and whatnot, and yeah, that's not what this video is about. So yeah, just going on the stun lock fights. Unluckily, we get this heavy from Quake. I'm really bad at fighting Quake, but yeah. And so we're about to get into this cycle. Just need to get off RL1 and we're there pretty much. And yeah, just repeat the stun locking as usual. And he just makes a mockery of these normally really high power fights where you really need to keep control of that power. And Ultron just doesn't really care about that, which is really, really nice. And then we go into 6.3.1 for this no retreat and footloose lanes. Normally a lane where you really want some power control, so you don't have to worry about footloose and no retreat. But again, Ultron works around a lot of these power control scenarios. This being another example, just really easily. And on this Rhino fight, I forget to throw my heavy. And this will kind of show you what happens if you don't throw that heavy. You're not going to have the damage to finish it in the one stun lock. Luckily, Rhino doesn't punish me, but if he did, Ultron would have survived anyway, just because it's Ultron, and the damage Rhino's L3 does would be pretty insignificant. But yeah, of course, we could. He lets me just combo him. So yeah, and then we have a Juggernaut on the same lane, and this is yeah, a pretty similar idea, but this one goes a little bit smoother. It's just more Ultron stunlock. Yeah, the main synergy you need for this is the Hulkbuster synergy, of course, so your Cauterize gets the increased length. Modok synergy is nice to have, but definitely not necessary. It's just a little bit of extra damage. Most of the time, if you got the cycle down anyway, you'll have enough damage. But the Modok synergy is a very nice synergy, of course. Just gives you a little bit extra bleeds. When you're throwing heavies, the difference, it's there, but it's not a huge deal. But it's definitely a nice synergy to have, for sure. And yep, Jug's just going down smoothly. Very, very easy stuff. And then we have finishing it off with one lane where Ultron would definitely not normally work. This is Caustic Temper, Spiked Armor, and Terminal Velocity, where you really don't want to be critting, and Ultron has guaranteed crits. For Spiked Armor, it doesn't really matter. You're going to regen so much that the Spiked Armor damage will be... it'll be noticeable, but it won't kill you or anything. For Caustic Temper, we have the Warlock synergy here to give us the Fury. And for Terminal Velocity, as you can see, the insane power gain is not an issue for Ultron, which is just really, really nice. This is one of the most difficult lanes in all of Act 6, really. And Ultron just absolutely destroys a good amount of this. And it's fairly practical. Warlock can take most of the fights that Ultron isn't able to take on this lane. So yeah, pretty decent option for this lane in general. Of course, you can remove that Sinister synergy for just any normal option as well. Don't really need the Sinister synergy, just a nice thing to have. And yeah, that will be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been thinking about making more, small champion guides like this, where, it's not really to the same extent of a massive video like DLL does. He does these amazing massive videos that take a lot of effort and just goes really in depth on a champion. But instead, I'm going for something like where you just go for one niche thing about a champion and really focus in on that.